morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to take a little bit of a look at a dozen new Pokemon cards. Yeah, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to be taking a look at all of the Pokemon cards from Matchless Fighters that we've not yet had a chance to have a look at. We're doing things a little differently. The channel is evolving a little bit. And for a long time, I have done a video on pretty much every single new card. And although some people really like that, I want to try things a little bit differently. We've gone through all the real headline cards, so now I want to try doing a little bit of a roundup video, see how people feel about that. As always, any comments, etc. based around this will be very welcome down in the comment section, and we can see what we do for sets moving forward. So we are going to start off, we're going to go in set order. We're going to start off with Heracross. Our translations come from the lovely Joe over at cerebi.net here. And what we've got here is a basic Pokemon, 120 HP, which is fairly high. It is a single strike Pokemon, which means you can use all of those cards like Single Strike Energy and Emboar to try and do more damage, which is good. But the real highlight here is 2 energy, 40 damage, flip 2 coins. If both of them are heads, you do 160 more damage. That is 200 damage, but remember that's 200 before you start building in all of those other things that single strike Pokemon can do to be building in extra damage. And on the one hand, I love this, and this is awesome. And on the other hand, you got to flip 2 heads. Yes, I know we've got Glimwood Tangle at the moment. Glimwood Tangle will allow you to reflip, but you've still got that same 1 in 4 chance when you reflip. So you've got a less than 50% chance of actually doing this. Even with Glimwood Tangle, you would expect to hit this less than half the time, and for that reason, it's not an attack I can take particularly seriously. Love the amount of damage you can do, love that it's a single strike Pokemon. Cannot take it seriously, unfortunately, because it's just too flippy. We've also got a new Lilligant we need to have a little bit of a look at here. Now, 100 HP on a stage 1 is low, although the artwork is beautiful. And what we've got here is 2 energy, flip a coin if heads sleep, if tails confusion. You're going to get sleep or confusion here. And again, you can use Glimwood Tangle to try and manipulate this. So try and get the one that you want, no guarantee, but with 1 coin flip, Glimwood Tangle really does help to try and get the result that you want. And sleep is quite nice. You can combine it with Slumbering Forest to try and make sure they've got to flip double heads to wake up. We've already seen double heads is not easy, and Slumbering Forest doesn't let you reflip. So that's kind of cool. And Confusion, they've got to flip heads in order to attack. I'll say take 30 damage to themselves. But the reality of the situation here is it's 2 energy, which isn't ideal, 70 damage, which isn't a lot. There are other Pokemon that can do Confusion and Sleep for a single energy or on a basic Pokemon, and I don't think Lilligant does quite enough. Moving over into water, we can take a little bit of a look here at Tentacruel. Tentacruel comes in with 120 HP, which is nice, but there are a bunch of Pokemon, I don't know, Cast Form that we looked at the other day, that naturally do 120 damage. I'd much rather have 130. Now, the 2 energy 50 damage is really not doing anything for us here, but 3 energy 100 damage, plus poison, plus the defending Pokemon can't retreat. Now, this is one of the cards in this video from this set of cards that I can really start getting behind. Don't forget that we've got Toxicroak, which will increase the poison by 2 damage counters between turns. So that's 3 after your turn, 3 after your opponent's for 1 Toxicroak, and it only goes up from there. This is nice, and of course you stop them retreating, so they've got to have a switching card. 3 energy 100 is fine, the poison makes it really good. You'll get most single prize Pokemon. If you're hitting for weakness, this becomes really nice because you've got the poison coming in as well. I just worry it's 3 energy. And don't get me wrong, the energy isn't the end of the world because Frostmoth is a thing and will get your energy on. But you're talking double stage 1s, and then you've got to find the free energy to attach them. Then you're probably playing Toxicroak, then your opponent might have a switching card anyway. And I think it might be a little bit too much. But keep an eye on Tentacruel, because I do think the fact that you can trap them in the active while poisoning them, if you can flood stage 1s onto your bench, it could be fun. Sticking in water, we've got a new Sharpedo coming here. Now, Sharpedo, for a single energy, lets you switch one of your opponent's bench with their active, which on the one hand sounds really good. You get to choose which one becomes active. This is another card, incidentally, with awesome artwork. On the other hand, it's a stage 1 and it doesn't do anything else. I often use the example of the Heracross from Celestial Storm that was a basic, and it dragged a Pokemon active and burned them and confused them. So why am I doing this on a stage 1 when all I do is bring them active? We've had other Pokemon that have done more than bring them active, and on a basic, this isn't good enough, I'm sorry. But 2 energy, 120 is nice, but then you can't attack next turn. And I don't think this attack is good enough to warrant that. 2 energy, 120 is fine, but again, we've got that whole 120 versus 130 argument. You'll notice Sharpedo does fall on the wrong side of that. It is 120. So you get the 120s, but you won't get the 130s. If you're hitting for weakness, you'll get Center Scorch V, but you won't get Center Scorch V Max. And look, if you're in, say, a pre-release or a limited tournament, I love 2 energy, 120. In a single prize format, I can get behind this attack, it's quite good. But in reality, it's a stage 1 that doesn't attack for 1 energy, that doesn't do quite enough damage. And I think in a pre-release, Sharpedo could be a beast. I think in our standard format, Sharpedo is going to prove to not be quite as good as we'd like. Now, there is a new Lanturn coming in this set, the lone electric Pokemon we have yet to take a little bit of a gander at. And what we've got here is another 120 Pokemon. Incidentally, this also does 120, but for free energy, which does show Sharpedo in a better light. But what we've got here is 2 energy during your opponent's next turn. If the defending Pokemon needs to flip a coin to use an attack, if the flip is tails, this attack does nothing. Now, this is a really awkward one, but we can reference back to Lilligant. Because you see, Lilligant, you have to flip a coin, and you either get Sleep or Confusion, but Lanturn says, well, hang on a second, you're flipping a coin. That means if you flip tails, you don't do anything. I love how novel this attack is. I like how it's weird, I like how it's different, I like how it's not like all the other attacks. But I don't actually like the attack. And then the second attack, free energy 120. No, just it's not efficient enough. I love Lanturn. I played Lanturn Prime in my very first ever national championships. But I think this is another one of those cards which is, as I like to phrase it, aggressively fine. Now, Slurpuff is coming back in this set. And what we've got here is 110 HP, which is even worse than before. 80 damage for free energy, which is even worse. I will say that this could at least, before rotation anyway, use triple acceleration energy, but it's only doing 80 damage, so no. And then 2 energy, flip 3 coins for each heads, put a card from your discard pile into your hand. Now this one I like. This is another one of the ones, and this video isn't showing the powerhouse real headline cards from the set, but there are some hidden gems to be had here, and I think this might be one of them. Yes, it's flippy. Again, I refer you to Glimwood Tangle. But you're getting 1 card for each heads. So you're probably going to be getting a couple cards back in and this is probably one we're going to be talking about in the future. If you're talking about a disruption deck, this is not that far away from Sableye. Now, let's be 100% clear when I'm saying this. It ain't Sableye. Sableye was a basic Pokemon for 1 energy that guaranteed 2 item cards. This is a 2 energy attacker. Twin will also work. Stage 1 that is flippy. So no, it's not the same as Sableye. But do we really believe people are not going to try and use this in disruption decks to get back disruption cards and play them over and over again? Oh, you had better believe they're going to, ladies and gentlemen. This is one to absolutely keep an eye on. Now, Hatterene is a Pokemon that apparently cannot be printed without an ability, and we have another ability coming in here. Once during your turn, you may switch your active with one of your bench, and then have your opponent switch their active with one of their bench. Your opponent gets the choice as to which Pokemon comes active. And I actually talked about this card very recently in a history video I made that might now be put off till next week. I'm really sorry. It's been a busy weekend. But it is the Slippery Souls Vanillux. It's exactly the same. And the thing is, this Vanillux actually did see a little bit of play in decks that were already playing Noble Victories Vanillux, which was you flip 2 coins if either a heads paralysis, and we had a way to reflip then, so you had to flip quadruple tails to whiff paralysis. It was awesome to play with, not to play against. The thing is, we only played that Vanillux as an occasional tech, and even then, only because the other Vanillux was seeing play. No Hatterene is. If a Hatterene deck in the future starts seeing a lot of play and being really good, this Hatterene will come in to save you. That is not where we are at the moment, but keep it in mind for if we get a good Hatterene in the future. The attack is one we've seen a million times before. It is Psychic, 2 energy, 50 damage for each energy attached to your opponent's active, plus the 30 base. And you know what? You can do this for a twin energy, and against a deck like Mewtwo and Mew, if they pile energy on, is good. I think this is way better if you're hitting for weakness. If you are hitting for weakness, and they pile a bunch of energy on, this is a really good attack. But that is quite a lot of ifs. There are other Pokemon around that can use this kind of attack that I fear might be a little bit better. Over in fighting, we've got Gigalith, and I love Gigalith as a Pokemon. I just finished my playthrough of Pokemon White. Gigalith was on my team all the way through. Is this new Gigalith any giggity good? We got 180 HP on a stage 2, which is mahoosive, and the retreat cost of 4 will allow you to use buff padding, although admittedly that is rotating shortly after this set comes out. So this is a gigantic Pokemon, and the first attack, 1 energy, 50 damage, and during your opponent's next turn, damage done to this is reduced by 50. And when you start adding in stuff like this with buff padding, that is one hard to KO Pokemon. The problem is 50 damage isn't very much. Now, if you can get a KO with this, I adore it. Get a KO, huge HP, reduced damage done to you, yes. And the grass weakness is a very uncommon weakness which is unlikely to be relevant in the near future. So this is awesome, but we saw a similar thing on Jumpluff Prime. Jumpluff was cool. Wasn't the Prime, it's the regular Jumpluff from Heart Gold Soul Silver. But it was still Jumpluff and it was still in that set, so close enough. Point is, you would use Leaf Guard on Jumpluff to get a KO and then reduce damage done next turn. And then you would generally use Mass Attack the rest of the time. So this is going to be a really good attack if we've got a good attack to use with it, do we? Well, I love free energy, 180 damage, that is brilliant. Firstly, 180 will KO a lot, pretty much every single prize Pokemon. And if you're hitting for weakness, it will even get something like Eternatus VMAX. As big as you are, if you're weak, you are going down. But how are we accelerating the energy here? We can use twin energy, fine, but you're still going to get that third energy on. Oh yeah, and it also does 10 damage to itself for each damage counter on this Pokemon, which means that ain't going to last 5 minutes. The first attack makes us think, yay, survivability, and then we get to the second attack and we're like, oh no, my mistake, it's not going to last that long at all. If you've got 3 damage counters on there, you take an extra 3, and then the next turn you take an extra 6, and all of a sudden you're kind of KOing yourself. Love the first attack, but it doesn't do enough damage, especially for a stage 2. Love the second attack, but the self-damage, which only escalates, combined with the attack cost, makes me extremely reticent here. We've got a new Scrafty coming in this particular set. Now, Scrafty, of course, is a darkness Pokemon, and what we see here is 120 again. 2 energy, 40 damage is completely meh. But 3 energy, 90 damage, discard a card from your opponent's hand without looking. Yeah, I can get on board with that. The problem is, and this is a bit of a theme running through these cards, and it's a bit of a theme, and it really does explain why I'm not giving a lot of them their own video this time round. And the reason is really simple. 90 damage isn't very much, 3 energy on a stage 1 is annoying. And I'm not loving it. Now, don't forget, of course, that this will actually pair nicely with Galarian Moltres. It's got that ability that puts an energy from the discard onto it. Then you can energy switch it over. And then you go Twin Energy and you're fine. But that's kind of an awkward way to do it. It's doable, don't get me wrong. It's just an awkward way to do it. Then, of course, you're only doing 90 damage. And you are discarding a card from your opponent's hand without looking. But is that enough? And if you're talking about the late game when you reset stamp them to 1 and then discard the only card from their hand, yes, that's awesome. But I really don't like this one very much at all for the low damage output and it's only getting 1 energy. If it's late game and you can combine this with something like a reset stamp, like I've said, it's awesome. But you've got to get to the late game and have your stage 1 and have the free energy. And it's another Pokemon, like so many we're looking at in this video, that looks kind of cool and is probably never actually going to work. Now, Stoutland is another Pokemon I've been using a lot on my Gen 5 playthroughs recently. I love Stoutland as a Pokemon, and I'm a huge fan of Stoutland V. Is this any good? Kind of. The ability says, as long as this Pokemon is your... And by the way, the artwork on this, again, is just over the top brilliant. I am in love with the artwork. As long as this Pokemon is your active Pokemon, your opponent's active Pokemon's attacks do 30 less damage. Okay. It's nice for a bit of protection. It's only got 160 HP and it's got a bad weakness, so let's not go crazy. But I like the protection here. As for the attack, free colorless energy, 120 damage, 220 on a heads. Now, I kind of wish this wasn't a stage 2. Because actually, now we're getting somewhere. The coin flip is annoying, but I keep mentioning Glimwood Tangle. That works here very nicely as well. And free energy can be triple acceleration energy, or it would fit into a fire deck with Welder, or whatever. It's all colorless. Any energy acceleration will do. And 220 is the magic number. That gets a Zacian V. That gets pretty much any Pokemon V. And now you're telling me that I can KO Pokemon V really quite easily as long as I can flip a heads, and I got 2 chances to do it. Yeah. It's a stage 2, and it is free energy, but if you can get this stage 2 rolling with a triple acceleration energy and a Glimwood Tangle, you're talking about a single prize Pokemon that is KOing Pokemon V. When I talk about hidden gems in this video, I'm talking about Slurpuff, and I'm talking about this. This is a cool card. This is one that maybe should have got its own video, and I'm starting to feel a bit sad about that. And the last Pokemon we haven't yet talked about is Braviary. Now, Braviary here, we've got a stage 1, 130 HP, so it's on the right side of the line. I do like the resistance to fighting, that is awesome. And what we've got here is 1 energy. If your opponent's active Pokemon is an evolution Pokemon, this attack does 90. Oh. So if it's an evolution Pokemon, it does enough damage to not KO evolution Pokemon. Why? No! 90 is not enough for evolution Pokemon. We need more than this. There are the odd evolved Pokemon with 90 HP, obviously, and you'll get evolving stage 1s. This will work. But come on, ladies and gentlemen. No. Not buying it, ladies and gentlemen. Not buying it at all. There is a second attack here. We are looking at free energy, 150 plus 50 to itself, but you're not hitting anything for weakness. You're not doing enough damage to KO a multiple prize Pokemon. You're even 10 damage short of a Dedenne. So, you're not getting multiple prize Pokemon. You're not hitting anything for weakness. You're damaging yourself. It takes free energy. You'll get the majority of single prize Pokemon here. But for free energy doing 50 self damage, I'm sorry, I don't think it's good enough. And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Those are all of the Pokemon. That is it. That is every card now from Matchless Fighters that we have had a little bit of a look at. And I, for one, am a little bit proud of myself. And now it's over to you guys. I want to know what you think about these cards. I want to know which ones you're liking. So let me know in the comment section. Go nuts. Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.